welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new here. Today I am filming my first back to school college 2021 video, and it's crazy that this is my last season of doing back to school videos because I've seriously been doing them since freshman year of high school, or maybe even 8th grade. So it is kind of sentimental for me. So this year I'm gonna go all out because it's my last year and it's exciting and nerve-wracking and sad as well. So comment below the back to school videos, the college videos you wanna see. I have some ideas, but I wanna know what you guys want to see. I also already have years of previous videos like this up, so if you want to check them out, you can click on the playlist now in the cards, or it'll be in the description box below. So I wanted to start off this year's back to school series with a just overall life advice for college. In this video, I'm not gonna really be sharing my dorm essentials or how to make good grades because I've done videos like that on this channel before. But today's video is gonna be more about the overall lifestyle of college, what to expect, what's going to happen, how to have a good mindset going in. I'm going to talk about things like roommates, pressures in college, my experience with boys in college, just all the things. And I'm really excited to be a little bit more personal in this video and hopefully really share that big sister advice that you are looking for before you head to college, or even while you're in college and maybe just younger. I'm now a senior at Belmont University in Nashville, Tennessee, and I'm majoring in entrepreneurship, and I have stuck with that major for all 4 years. But that leads me into my first point, so let's just get started. But also, if you're new here, subscribe. So my first point is, don't feel pressured to go into a specific major, to even go to a specific college or university, or to even go to college, okay? I know that's kind of counterproductive that I'm a senior and this is a video for incoming college students, but I don't think there's anything wrong with having a gap year, not going to school, transferring schools mid-college experience, changing majors. It's all normal. It's all good. Everyone is on their own life path. And I remember being 18 and graduating high school and thinking that I had to go to a 4-year university or I was a failure. My parents gave me the option to not go to college. They did the same for my brother. My brother, who just graduated, isn't going to college. And so, we support it. That's amazing for him. I think it's completely what are your goals in life? Do you even know those goals right now, or do you need some time to kind of figure out what your goals for your career are going to be? And it's okay if those goals change. You just do not have to have it all figured out at 18 years old, or even at 21 years old or 22 years old as a senior in college. You do not need to have it figured out. All right, now that we got that spiel out of it, let's get into a little bit more technical advice. So number 2, my second kind of piece of advice is, know that it may not be that big of a transition or that big of a difference from your high school experience. You may be like, well, Hannah, all my high school teachers are telling me it's going to be insane. All my, friends and parents are telling me that it's going to be just this big, huge transition. And maybe if you're going to a school in another state, there may be some culture shock. I know most of my friends are from out of state, not from Tennessee, and they said the South, and being in Tennessee and Nashville, it is a bit of a culture shock. I went in state, so not that big for me, but you may have a culture shock in a different state. But if you're someone who's already really independent, you already kind of cook some meals for yourself, you're good with time management and keeping a schedule, and you're really responsible. If you're responsible and independent, it's not going to be that much of a hard transition for you. If you're someone who maybe relies on your family, on your parents, on other people a lot, and you're not going to have those people around you when you go to school, then it may be a little bit of a bigger transition where you're like, okay, I got to get my ish together. I got to learn how to cook some meals in a microwave, or how to manage my money, or how to get a job. You may have to figure some of those things out, and that's okay. But know that if you're already kind of in a good standing, with responsibility, it's not going to be that big of a transition. Some of you probably watched my videos in high school. I was a pretty independent, responsible young girl. And so I got to college and I was like, there's this, besides me living with a bunch of roommates, with 3 other girls, this is not that different. I did the same thing in my daily schedule that I did when I was in high school. I woke up, I would work out. At some point during the day, I, tried to eat fairly healthy, had fun on the weekends, went to class, did my YouTube work. It was pretty much the same. All right, advice number 3, tip number 3 is always come prepared to class. Obviously, just go to your classes is a big tip, but also more than just showing up in your class, be prepared. You never know what's going to happen. I'm someone who never likes to be caught off guard in class. If there's a pop quiz, or if there's a project due, I knew about it, okay? And that's just because before class, the day before, the morning of, I would kind of look at my class schedule, look at the syllabus, and be like, okay, this is what we're doing in class today. I need to make sure to bring my book, or, oh, we're doing a project on our laptops. I need to bring my laptop. Just like look at your schedule for your classes and figure out what you're going to need before you even get to class, because then you're just going to feel great. It's going to take away some of that anxiousness. And I will say, freshman year and sophomore year, I was very anxious going to my classes, okay? I'm a good student. Like, I don't know why I had so much to be anxious about, but I would literally like feel anxious before every class. And I found that one way to help with that was just feeling prepared, knowing I did my homework, knowing that I knew what was going to be kind of talked about in class that day, knew if I had to present, just knowing what was coming that day for me helped me to feel a little less anxious. But I definitely did still feel that like uneasiness, anxiousness before going to class, and that's completely okay if you do. Now it's gone a little bit. As a junior, I had a lot of online classes obviously with COVID, so that kind of helped. I wasn't really that anxious for those. We'll see what happens the senior year as I'm commuting to campus and I'm a senior. We'll see if I'm still anxious before class or not, but that was definitely me freshman and sophomore year. Next is, you don't have to be best friends with your roommates. Hopefully you're hearing this more now. I feel like the stereotype was you become best friends with your roommates. I think I'm out of the norm, where I went into school with one of my good friends. She wasn't my best friend from high school, Skylar. We roomed together, and then we became even closer in college. We're not roommates now, but then we had suite mates, 2 other girls, and then the third girl, Ellie, she also became one of our best friends. So even though I don't live with them now and I only lived with them freshman year, Ellie and Skylar are still 2 of my really good best friends. I'm kind of the exception. You can be the exception where you become really good friends with your roommate, but I think it's sometimes even nice if you're going to college with a friend, maybe freshman year room together, but then you may find out that you're not the best roommates with one another and you'd rather, you know, have a different roommate and keep your friendship separate from living together. You kind of just have to figure that out. So don't expect to be best friends with your roommates, and don't feel like you have to room with your best friends. Now my roommate Lucy, we didn't meet till my study abroad trip I did after my freshman year. So we met going into our sophomore year, and we didn't room together sophomore year, but we became best friends, and we realized we would live really well together. We just complement each other well, and so we live together now. We live together junior year and again in senior year. So you just kind of have to figure out the person that you live best with, and that may or may not be your best friend. You really don't know. You kind of have to figure out what your style is, what their style is, and go from there. My biggest tip though, when it comes to roommates, is just respect them. I found freshman year, we all grew up in different households with different parents, different rules, different things, and just some things that like I would think is completely fine. To my roommates, it may be an invasion of privacy, or it may be really weird, or things that I think are weird may be normal for them when they lived at home, you know? So we just all are coming from different backgrounds, and so if you can kind of talk about like boundaries and expectations kind of at the beginning, it's awkward, but it helps a lot. Like, are you okay sharing clothes? Are you okay sharing toothpaste? Like, are you okay sharing food? Figuring out what you're good with sharing at, what times you guys go to bed or wake up in the morning, being respectful of that. If they need good study periods, you know, if they're really studious and they want quiet dorm room hours during a certain time, like, you just need to know what their expectations are, and they need to know what your expectations are. Not that you have to perfectly meet them, like that you're gonna have to have compromises, but it is just knowing that stuff up front and being respectful of their boundaries and expectations is going to make the roommate process a whole lot smoother. Number 5 is to put yourself out there your first year. I know a lot of people make their friends later on in college, not necessarily freshman year, but I think the best way to just meet people freshman year so you're not like lonely sitting in your dorm is to put yourself out there. I found on my campus, I lived on campus my second year as well, but I found freshman year, especially first semester when everyone's new, everyone was way more outgoing, way more likely to say, hey, like, let's grab coffee, or hey, here's my Snapchat, here's my phone number, here's my Instagram. People were way more likely to like just engage and be super open first semester freshman year because everyone's new and everyone's trying to meet people. Then I felt like sophomore year. In Belmont, it's about a mid-sized school. We have about 8,000 undergrads, so I don't know if that plays a part in it. Then I found by sophomore year, I did meet new people sophomore year. Like I said, I met my roommate, Lucy, and other friends, but I felt like people were more closed off. Like people had already kind of found their roommate or like their friend situations, and the ways you made new friends was like your friend group talked to a few other girls who are part of another friend group, so you'd be introduced, or guys, whatever. And that's how you met new people, is like you went from group connections instead of like everyone's is single and they're all trying to find groups. I hope that made sense, but basically my tip is to put yourself out there as much as you can freshman year. And if you're a transfer student, There's still other ways you can meet people. I think joining clubs, and people love sororities and fraternities for this reason. I am not in a sorority. I may do a whole video about like why I'm not in a sorority, Belmont sororities, all of this. They're great. It's just I knew it wasn't for me. And so there's definitely ways you can meet people your sophomore year or later in college, especially if you're a transfer. But just from my personal experience, what I've observed in my class is everyone was way more outgoing first semester freshman year than they are later. Number 6, to all my girls out there who feel pressured maybe, or like you have to go out, you have to drink, you have to party to be fun in college. That is not the case, and not everyone is going to want to have that lifestyle. If you do, that's awesome, great, enjoy it. And of course, be safe right now with COVID and everything, and always be safe, just in general. But enjoy it, have fun. But for those girls who that isn't really what you want to do in college, it is okay. Do not stress. I was stressed about that because I had always said like I didn't really want to drink a ton or like go out. I never wanted to get a fake ID before I turned, 21. And so freshman and sophomore year, I wasn't 21 yet, obviously. And so I knew I didn't really want to do that. And so you'll find friends, you'll find people who are just like you, who want to do other things on their weekends. And it's going to be great. Like you're going to find other people with the same interest as you. A lot of my friends, before COVID, we would go to the movies, we would go to concerts. We would just go bake in each other's dorms or apartments, not really dorms, but we'd bake in each other's apartments. We'd go out to eat. We'd go to brunch. We would go see plays. Like there's so much stuff you can do, I'm sure, in your college town and city. And you can find other girls to do that stuff with who maybe don't want to go out and drink. So there is the world of like partying and going out. And you can find people in that and have so much fun and love it. And there's the other side of it too, where there's people who don't want to do that. So whichever one you fall in, you're going to find your people and it's all going to be good. My next point is kind of broad, but I will specialize it down, and it is just to do what you want. I know this is kind of like random, but this applies to everything. You are now on your own. You can now make decisions for yourself. And so this is your time to really figure out, what do you want? This is your 4 years to be a little bit selfish, okay? You have your own time, you have your own schedule. You can choose what you put in your schedule daily. You can choose what you eat. You can choose what you wear. If you want to dress up for class, I know I normally dress up for class a little bit more just because I want to feel like I'm put together, professional, especially now as I'm making like connections with professors for job and collaboration opportunities and all that. So I dress up a little bit more for class. I know some people and some girls that sounds like the worst thing in the world, and so they want to wear their cute workout sets or sweatpants and stuff to class, and that's completely fine. Like, wear what you want, eat what you want, do what makes you feel good. If eating, some of my friends eat literally fries and ranch every day for lunch, and they love it and it works for them. That's amazing. It is what you know you need. Like, do what you know that you need. Do what you need. Okay. My other tip is to be a good student and do your group projects. And when there's a group project, I know we all don't like it because, especially during COVID, group projects online are the worst. But my group projects freshman and sophomore year, when we actually had to meet in person, I have met some really good friends from that. I haven't met any of my best friends, but definitely like I still hang out with some of the people I met in one of my first group projects freshman year. And I follow all of them on Instagram. I keep up with their life. I message them, comment on their photos. Like, I have stayed in touch with people from my group projects from freshman year. If you hear that there's a class with a group project, don't be scared. Make sure you just do your work, and hopefully you have other good project mates that want to also put in the work, and maybe when you guys are hanging out, you'll become friends. You never know. It's a great way actually to meet people is through your classes, because you already have something in common, and so it makes it easier to talk, to, exchange numbers, exchange whatever. And then lastly, I'm going to talk about my experience with guys and boys in college. It's not that juicy. I'm very sorry you waited till the end to hear this, but there's not many options at my school for guys, and you may be like, that's crazy. You're going to a Christian school, Christian university, there aren't good Christian boys. Okay, let me just preface this. I have a group of 7 friends that go to Belmont. All of us girls in the same grade. None of our boyfriends go to Belmont. So that's seven girls in my sphere of best friends. None of our boyfriends go to Belmont. So I don't know if state schools are better than like the private school world. I've just found it's, especially in like the private, smaller school, a lot of them, may have already came in with girlfriends. A lot of them are gay or not looking to date in college. Like, there were just a lot of factors that all my friends, we found the pool of like dateable guys at Belmont is very, very slim, and none of us ended up with them. Let me look up the statistic for you, and this will help it all. Belmont girls to boys ratio. So our gender ratio at Belmont is 65% women, 35% men. So that also just goes to show you slim pickings. But I'm really happy I didn't date anyone at Belmont, because then I wouldn't be with my current boyfriend who lives in my hometown, who I found in my hometown. So you never know where you're gonna find one. So those are that's all my advice, all my tips for my going into college gals and guys, if you're watching. I hope it was somewhat helpful. I feel like I'm forgetting something. If I am, I will put it in the description box, or I'll make a part 2 if I forget enough stuff. Hopefully you guys can have a great college experience. You know, don't expect it to be perfect. Not every day is going to be the perfect college experience, but there are, I promise, there are going to be those moments that you're really thankful you have, that you're really thankful you went out, you're really thankful you made friends, really thankful for those like special college moments that you're just going to remember forever. And you know, the schooling is good too. So the education is good too. All right, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you all in my next video. Bye. Peace out.